Fantastic. Thank you. All right, so let me minimize the screen on my side for a little bit. So Agatha's tips for print on demand, a very brief guide for first time drop shipping entrepreneurs. Hello to whoever joined in. I have no idea who you are. So team, you can see a map right in the middle of this slide. And the map is there for a simple reason. This is a worldwide thing. So wherever you are, on whichever continent you are, you can find a print-on-demand supplier or a drop shipping service. So moving on, before we do anything else, the objectives of this short presentation is, first of all, to understand our why. Why are we thinking about doing a print-on-demand? Why are we even curious about it? What is it that we want to do, and how do we want it to help us? In what way? We will discuss print-on-demand benefits and drop shipping benefits and see what the difference is between those. What does it mean, print-on-demand, drop shipping? How does it go? We'll also look into finding a print-on-demand supplier. So POD stands for print-on-demand. Which you can call them your partner, I suppose, a partner, and deciding factors behind that decision. We then choose a shop, or we look into choosing a shop. How would we choose a shop? What do we need to look at in order to do that? And again, the deciding factors behind that decision. We'll look at integrating print on demand to the online shop of your choice. We look at creating designs, which is the exciting bit. And then we have some playtime. So hopefully that playtime will be something that you're already looking forward to. All right, so we're moving on. Before we say anything else, stop in your tracks. There is a disclaimer coming. All material covered in this presentation is just my humble opinion. It is solely based on my research and is solely based on my experience. So therefore, I cannot guarantee any results if you choose to go and follow and you say, hey, Agatha told me I can make millions and I am not making a penny. So hopefully we understand that. And also you're responsible for all your decisions and steps taken from here. However, I am happy to offer my non-binding advice. And also at the end of the presentation, I will offer you a couple of starting links where you can start your journey. And I will be, should you choose to click those links, I will be receiving a small commission for those, but you will not pay any more than if you were to sign up or purchase directly. All right, with that housekeeping covered, we are moving on. So first thing we want to do is to look at why. Why are we looking at this? So if you think, I do not want to be a seller, I don't want to do that. I just want to find out what's going on. Really incredible way of making personalized designs as gifts for friends and family. I'm not sure how about you, but over the course of the last few years, I have created numerous personalized items as Christmas gifts. And that included beer tumblers and Prosecco glasses and anything that you can think of, key rings and so on. And I probably paid through my nose for those because I would use, obviously, websites that have already gone through those processes, or sellers that have gone through that process, and I have paid the price of the actual customer, I suppose, right? So the final price. So if you think about it, if you don't want to use it as a business, it could be something that you can simply use for yourself and then for others around you. They'll be going, oh my goodness, like, how do you know how to do those things? Yeah. So you can buy anything or personalize anything from baby grows to kitchen boards, key rings, jewelry. I mean, think about it, and you can personalize it. You can put the name down, you can put images. So if somebody's hobby or I don't know, 18th century puzzles, you can get an image of 18th century puzzles and print it on an apron. All right, so what a present is that? Then the next point would be to look at your own self. So for example, you are starting your business, whether it's an affiliate business or any other business for that matter, and you think, I want to look professional, I want to wear my own brand, I want to maybe wear my own logo on it or the name of the website, etc., etc. So you can use that to create your own professional look, to put your brand on it. So for example, today, if I was to sit at this webinar, I would probably, if I was promoting my own brand, which I am not, but if I was, I would probably sit here with my brand tattooed all over me, probably, and subliminal message everywhere. So that's another way of looking at it. And in the introduction to the webinar, you saw me drinking from my cup, my teacup, which I use on a daily basis to remind me that I'm still working on my business, and something that you can do for yourself. Another thing is brand awareness. So creating your own enterprise now at a higher level, where you start to use social media, where you start to maybe do vlogs on YouTube, etc. And that's the point where you're taking your brand seriously and it's out there. The logo is all over the place, or maybe you're even using print on demand, not just to wear in your vlogs or on your Instagram channel, but you're also threading everything, including the beginning of the show and the end of the vlog and the end of the vlog. So everything ties up together. So we are thinking of congruency. So everything is congruent. The way you look, you wear your brand, you are your brand, essentially. Then we're thinking about non-branded novelty product sale profit. So for example, you don't have anything in your mind right now. It's like, oh, I don't have a brand. I don't really know what to do. I do like, nice mugs, or I really find joy in door mats, personalized door mats, which say welcome home, or, so-and-so doesn't live here, and so on and so on. I don't know. You could create similar items and then push them into a store, but they have nothing to do with you. So you're in a way hiding behind the store, and you could create a name of the store, let's say funnydoormat.com, and then create the whole shop based on the doormat, but your face and your name has nothing to do with it in a way. Then you can look into another step, branded product sale. So that means you now have an idea, you want to create your own brand. You're thinking of maybe starting an inspirational brand, anything that you could think about, and then having the merchandise sold on those platforms. So to give you an example, my son has asked me for a cushion cover. And I thought, okay, fine, no worries. Mom is like $20. One of the YouTubers merchandise. I thought, fine, okay, we can talk about it. I then looked into the taxes because it was coming from the US, and I really scratched my head. By then I already agreed, so it was really hard to back out. But anyway, so this guy is using his merchandise, is using his branded products to push through the stores. And those products are created, they are printed on demand. We'll talk about how print on demand exists and what the premise behind it is in a minute. So then you're stepping up again. Another level will be a side hustle. So you want to create something, you want to create that shop, but you're not relying on income in a way that you kind of think, I'm going to build it. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it snowballs, but it's not something that you are desperate to rely on as per, I need to make that money next month because my rent is due or something. So you need to be able to separate those two and almost for a second, treat it as a curious hobby and then see where it takes you. This is where you kind of detach yourself and detach your business from it. You are dipping your toes in. It's a bit of a side hustle, something that brings you joy, something that is creative, and you maybe love being creative, but you're not relying on it because there are financial implications involved. And the last but not least, although quite high on the pyramid, is to become a POD giant. That's your sole project, it's your main project, that's the maximum focus, and therefore hopefully maximum results. So you would probably, and many of you have stumbled upon YouTubers who would vlog only about that. They would cover all possibilities, and they're making literally tens of thousands of dollars in monthly revenue. It is possible. However, we also need to think that the tens of thousands, that's the gross, and then obviously we need to deduct everything else. So the tens of thousands turns kind of into a smaller portion of that. But that's besides the point. At least they're making the tens of thousands of dollars or pounds or anything else. So it can be done. It just requires maximum commitment. Moving on. Once we have the reason, we need to now find out what is the difference between all those words that we're hearing. So POD stands for print on demand. That means that the items are being printed when they are ordered. They do not exist in real life. So you will have a white label product, which is in a fulfillment center. And that white label product, when it's purchased, then goes into the hall of producing. Then it gets produced. Only then it gets shipped to the client. But in real life, it doesn't exist. Drop shipping. Drop shipping is a service when the goods are delivered directly to a client or a fulfillment premises, like an Amazon warehouse. So you have a POD supplier, your print-on-demand partner, who will then deal with the, let's say, there will be 100 t-shirts facing, having a happy dog in the middle of your t-shirt. And those t-shirts will be then sent into an online shop, because remember, not all shops and print-on-demand suppliers connect with one another. We'll cover that in a minute. So let's say you order 100 happy dog t-shirts and you send them to the an actual shop. You don't do it directly yourself. You don't actually physically go there and use Royal Mail or whatever else. The POD, which is a print-on-demand supplier, will create everything and then drop ship everything to that shop. For example, an Amazon warehouse. Fulfillment. It is a service where everything gets processed. So the order gets processed, it gets packaged. The fulfillment center will send the order to the customer, and will also deal with refunds if something goes wrong, and returns. So things will return to them. So it's really sweet deal, because if you have, literally, if you are in your living room, like I am right now, you can run a shop from wherever you are in the world, having no stock, having not to worry about sizes, medium, small, large, having not to worry about colors, not worrying about running to the post office every 10 minutes to post a package. And oh my dear me, if somebody returns, then you have to get that, return it, process the refund, and so on, so on. So you're not doing any of that. The downside to it, there's a price to pay for that. But hey, everything has a price, and we just need to weigh out of, what's more important to us. So is everybody happy? Are we all following? Great. We are now moving on to another slide. And this is the reasons for why to go print on demand. And at that point, my son has opened the living room door, and I'm going to have to go and close it. Otherwise, you're going to hear the entire havoc of my household. And I'm back. So why go print on demand? First of all, we've mentioned already, no stock. You do not have to hold anything, and you can have hundreds, literally, of different designs. You have a huge variety of items and designs, from pillowcases to phone covers to water bottles to cups to underwear to swimming costumes to beach towels, kitchenware. I mean, think of it, it's there. What really got me, and I thought I do like that, because I have noticed that I have, having 2 children, every few months I have bags and bags of clothes that they grow out of. And for me, the important thing is to make sure that these clothes have a second or third wear, because they are good clothes. They don't end up in a landfill. And there's a shop next door to me, actually, that does offer a recycling service, which is really good. With that in mind, what really enticed me to print on demand is that it reduces land waste, because all the products are printed on demand. They don't exist in reality. So therefore, if somebody pays a rather high price for a print on demand product because it's unique, they are quite unlikely just to chuck it out. Just because I've worn it twice now, I don't want it anymore. Think about if we go to a shop, maybe a high street shop that is a little bit cheaper, or much cheaper, right? Where you can get quite a lot of stuff for $20. We may not approach this part of type of clothing in the same way. So reduction of land waste caused by apparel. Sustainability as well, because we may not be aware, but production of clothes takes an incredible amount of water. And we can also agree between us that it also has a huge amount of waste, like colors and inks, etc. So all that is being reduced by reducing the amount of clothing or apparel or items that we produce. Print-on-demand suppliers started to also use eco-friendly inks. They are really jumping on the eco-friendly bandwagon, which is great to see. They started to offer organic cotton as well, and it's being more and more available. Yes, there is a slight hike in the price range, but it's there. It is an option. What also enticed me to POD is that there's a reduction of air miles, essentially the carbon footprint, because if you're, let's say I'm based in London, and someone is based in Minnesota, that item will not be produced in London to then be shipped all the way across the ocean to go to Minnesota. That item will be produced as close to Minnesota as possible in order to reduce air miles. So if you think about it, planet friendly or more planet friendly than purchasing massive stocks, maybe created in massive factories somewhere where we don't even know who works there, and so on and so on. So there are downsides to POD, which is print on demand. First of all, it can be costly, simply because you're not ordering in bulk. If we order in bulk, we know if we order 1,000 samples or 1,000 products, that will cost us less than if we order 50, right? So because print on demand are ordered in ones, maybe twos per order, they are a little bit more expensive. Plus, you need to pay not only for the item itself, but you need to pay for the cost of printing or designing, depending whether you have your own designs or not. It can take longer to produce because we just don't know. I mean, you will know once you choose your supplier, but they are placed all over the world, and it might take longer for it to be shipped. So when you're choosing your supplier, you need to find out where your stock is being produced, where the fulfillment centers are, and be very clear about that. Also, I don't know how about you guys, but I got really used to the Amazon next day delivery, which is being a Prime customer. So therefore, my patience levels are very, very small. Like click, the day after, I've got my order. That's not the case with print on demand, because it has to be created and it has to be shipped and it has to be delivered. So there's no next day delivery. The customers need to be a little bit more patient, and it usually takes up to 10 days for that item to be delivered. And not all POD providers, not all print-on-demand providers will provide a shop integration. And what that means, we'll find out in a moment. But that means essentially that a shop and print-on-demand supplier are speaking together. They are joined by algorithms. And anytime somebody presses yes for an order, the shop and the print suppliers are talking through algorithms. And the produce is being produced without you actually physically doing so. If they are not connected to a shop, or if the POD provider is not connected to the shop, that means you probably will need to use the drop shipping service, which is order in bulk, order more stuff, and then drop ship it to the actual shop or fulfillment center. Are we all good to move on? Great work. All right, so we are now at the step 1. We are going to find a print-on-demand or POD supplier. We might not use a book for that, but we'll definitely do some Googling, I suppose, or any other search engine work. There are a couple of big brands like Printful, T-Launch, Redbubble, Printify, Gearbubble, and so on. You've got them on your screen. Some of them, they also the so-called top 10. I must be very honest with you that I have not researched all of them. I know quite a few of them, but not all of them, because one gets really overwhelmed and stops at a point. But this is what you need to do if you want to go into this. You need to search and choose by, first of all, where you are based. That's the first thing that you need to look into. Are you based in the US? Are you based in Europe? Where are you? And then the second question is, where is your customer? All right, so if your customer is in Europe and you're based in the US, you might need to think differently, and so on and so on. But most likely your customer will be where you live anyway, or quite close by. Items. So you're going to look at what items they have, what accessories they have. Is it clothing that you want to do? Is it any home design that you're interested? Maybe glasses, like beer glasses, Prosecco glasses, jewelry maybe. So you need to have a look at them. You literally need to jump in and then just rummage around through their website and see what they offer. Quality of product. Reviews, right? So looking at other people's experiences with that particular provider. You will also, I would strongly recommend to order samples, or at least one sample of the product that you're thinking of selling. If you're going for selling, if you're not going for selling, if you're just doing it for yourself, don't worry about it. But if you're actually selling it, getting your samples will be just so important. So I've spent a little bit on those samples, I must admit, but I'm grateful for every penny spent, because I have noticed that, for example, I've used my eye, which I thought it was good, to center my design in the middle of a t-shirt. I did not use the centering tool. So that means when my t-shirt came over, my sign was slightly to the left, right? It was slightly to the right. I thought, oh my God, so good that I'm not actually selling this thing, that it was just a sample, right? Same thing with the back label. Also on one of my tops, after a wash, it was just completely twisted and I had to literally, what did I do with it? I think I gave it to one of my children to use as pajamas, right? And another product, the print started to come off, because the product was made of a mix, cotton and other little bits in there, which the actual ink wouldn't stick properly to that. They call it the vintage look. I call it the ink doesn't stick to the material look. So I don't know, you judge and see, you need to see, maybe you like a vintage look, I don't know. And another thing to look at is what online selling platforms do they support? That means who do they integrate with? So with this shop, integrate with this POD supplier, and therefore less headache for me. Or do I need to use drop shipping, which equals a bit of headache. So for example, if we look at the POD suppliers, just a few here that I've looked into. Printful is the one that I use currently, and it's a good user-friendly starting app. I must say the integration with shops is literally a click away. Printful does everything. It is a massive platform. They are expensive. Their prices for their products are expensive, but they also offer a lot of things for that. Their support is incredible. It's literally respond within 3-4 minutes. You're in a chat with somebody 7 days a week, and they really are helpful. Another thing is that they provide mock-up generated images, so you don't have to have your own models. For those who have seen my ads in clothing, in my apparel, you think, oh my gosh, very nice models. How do you know these people? I don't. They are essentially generated models, and the products are kind of photoshopped onto them. So that's a little, shh, don't tell anybody tip. You would think that Printful, no, you wouldn't think anything. I'm telling you, Printful is an app that covers US, Europe, and they actually have a fulfillment center in Japan as well, which is quite good to know. So if you're somewhere there or know people around that corner, Printful is your place to go. Then you've got a kind of a sister or brother to Printful is a PRINTIFY. It's quite easy to mistake in them. They've got a very similar setup, so I presume it's like an umbrella company looking after those two. And PRINTIFY, so Printful does its own printing and everything in their center. They will receive your order, they will get a t-shirt, they will print it, they will send it. Printify, however, connects print-on-demand providers from all over the world. So they will not be printing your stuff in-house. They will be getting other print providers, and you'll be able to then choose your providers from that. So slightly different approach. There's a really nice, another app is called Subliminator, and they specialize in print all over products. And I've just realized a spelling mistake, but that's okay. Print all over products. That means you're getting a white label product. Let's say you're getting white leggings, and you really like potato chips. And you decided that your leggings must be covered in the potato chips design. You can get a potato chips image, and then potato chips, your leggings, do that, okay? So the whole of your leggings from the waistline to the ankle would be covered in potato chips or roses or Lego bricks, anything that you want. They are, however, fulfilled in Asia. So if you in the US, or if you even here, like where I am in the UK, it might take a bit of time for that order to be processed. Again, you might want to order quite a lot and then wait for the shipment and then drop ship it to a shop. I don't know. You need to kind of weigh it all out. And another one is called T-Launch. You're more than welcome, by the way, to take screenshots of those of the presentation, but I presume that recording will be available for you later. T-Launch is good for personalization. All right, so it's a US-based company, and anything that you just can put your name on it, or your, I don't know, friend's name on it, or anything else. Can you guys still hear me well? Because I've heard a really weird beep in my microphone. Okay, cool. So anything that you want to personalize, T-Launch is the place to go. Okay. Shine On. I can think of a person or two that likes jewelry, and this is the leader in POD jewelry, and also US based as well. So if you think of making some nice delicate jewelry and maybe personalizing it or tweaking it here and there, this is something that you could do. And the one that I actually started to look into a few days ago is called AOP Plus. For those who are, pardon me, based in the UK, London, they're actually a London-based company. They ship worldwide. Might take a little bit longer, but if you are based in the UK, this would be quite a nice place to go. And they deal with apparel, accessories, novelty products like pet-shaped cushion. What does this mean? You take a picture of your pet, and what can happen is that as you send it there, they will literally cut out, they make a cushion in the shape, well, not precisely like, you know, but rough shape of that pet. And obviously the picture and so on and so on. So that could be something to look into when you're thinking of making gifts, where you're thinking of real novelty products to push into your store. They also offer free packing slips. And what does this mean? That means in every order, you can put your own personalized thank you note to the customer. Are we happy to move on? All right, thank you very much. So we are in step 2, choose your online shop. So now you've got, hopefully, a better idea about the POD provider. And then you think, okay, now I need to find a shop because I need to integrate them both. So how will you look into the integration? First things first, we are going to find out, is my shop connecting with or integrating with my POD supplier? So you're going to choose it by that. That's your, like, if you want less headache, you might have less money though. But if you want less headache, choose the integration every time, especially at the beginning, I would say, because the journey is so overwhelming. There's so much to learn that you really want to kind of strip the layers, as many of those unnecessary layers away from you, to just work out what's going on. Is it user-friendly? That's another thing. So if you go into a shop and you go, this just looks like another landscape, I have no idea what I'm doing. You're clicking, maybe the links don't work, just leave it alone. You know, it's just not worth it, all that stress. So there you go. Or will you be pulling your hair out, right? It's just definitely, if it resonates with you and you like the layout of the page as well, that's something that you could be going for. Fees. How much money will they make from your sales? That's a really important one, because of course you're going to have to pay the print-on-demand supplier for the product and the printing and the shipping. Then you're going to calculate your profit, but there are also taxes involved as well, naughty taxes. And then you will have a certain part of your profits will go to the shop as well. So the shop will take the cut, the print-on-demand supplier will take the cut, and then you're left with whatever your prices was. Okay, it could be much less, it could be much more, depending of whether you're able to know your numbers, I suppose. And is the account free to set up and run? So at the very beginning, it will be quite nice, of course, to choose a shop that is free to run, and the cut will be taken from your sales rather than actually paying it. So for example, Etsy, it's a free shop. They do take a nice little bit for them at the end, but they run your advertising campaigns, which is great. So your products will show up. So there are obviously keywords, etc. you need to enter, and your products will show up within the advertising campaigns, but also within the shop. So for example, I Googled a couple of mugs on Etsy, and my mug came up. I went, oh my gosh, my mug came up, which is great. So that was a proof for me that they are actually pushing my product, and you can see how many visitors have visited your page, etc., etc. Also, for example, Amazon seller's account, you've got two versions. So one is a unpaid kind of a non-business account, and then you have a pro version that you actually need to pay for. So again, you need to choose which one is the right one for you. Notice that any of the free subscriptions to your shops or to your POD suppliers, so for example, being with Printful, again, it's a free subscription. You don't have to pay anything unless one day you may choose to go pro. And that's where the fee kicks in, probably a monthly subscription. And same thing with Etsy. I think, maybe not Etsy actually, but they are ways of scaling up, I suppose, your business. Open and set up the shop is the next thing to do. So before you connect anything, before you integrate anything, you have to have both of those things opened. So you have to have your, let's say, your Printful open, and then you have to open your Etsy. So this is my setup, personal experience. You then need to create a not fake, but kind of introductory listing on your Etsy, which won't go anywhere. Nobody will see, by the way. It's just you need to create it in order to push some settings through. And only when you have that, these two guys can start talking to one another. It took me a while to work that one out, by the way. So these guys start talking to one another, and then you're in. You're in, you delete the fake listing, and then you start actually doing things properly. So this could take a while, because setting up a shop that may include your branding. So if you have a brand, you may want to make it all congruent and looking beautiful. Also, you need to come up with some messages to your clients, to your shoppers, and maybe something about the shop, maybe something about yourself. I actually realized I had to type up a privacy policy, which was, I'm like, really? Do I have to do that? Oh, thank goodness I had some already. This is the one I've made earlier. Just retweaked it a little bit and posted it there. So yeah, there were a few catches, I must say, and it took a good few days to get that going. Then you open and connect one shop at a time. So if you think, I would like to have 2 shops, because I want to have an Amazon and I want to have an Etsy, and I have Printful running to both of those, right? Do one shop at a time. Know your platform. Just like if we were going, for those who are doing affiliate marketing, you would probably choose one advertising platform at first. Get to know it, ins and outs, run few tests, and then only then, once you know it, once you've run it, then maybe you can move to another one or run another one together with the first one. So this is the same kind of process. Open one shop at a time, connect it to one supplier at a time, get to know it, be comfortable with it, and that's the only time when then you can start expanding and looking into it. So as a kind of a note on the side, you can have one shop and various print-on-demand suppliers connected to that one shop. And you can also have one supplier, which is Printful, supplying the material to various shops. Are you following? Yep, cool. So loads of possibilities, loads to learn as well. Step 3, Now we are
Can
yes.
I ask a question, Agatha?
Of course you can.
Because this has kind of like been sitting in my mind for a while since we started this. And you have all of these different print shops all over the planet, basically. I've purchased print on demand things in the past, and some of them were really good quality. And some of them were
not so great.
Yeah, I mean, you washed it, and sometimes it didn't come out of the washer. It just kind of fell apart in there.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering about is, how do you, as a print demand person, taking an order, because I'm sure you've probably checked out your stuff. You know, you got samples and you checked them out really closely.
Yeah.
But if you got a company that's like printing all over the globe for you, how do you know that their print guys are actually using what your expectation is as far as materials?
You don't, unfortunately. You don't. That's one of the price to pay. I think we've spoken about it, Gary, early on. It's like you're putting yourself on the line there a little bit, because yes, your sample could be great, but then the order that comes out to a client, not so great. So this is where I suppose we count on that relationship with the customer, saying if there's anything at all that you may not like about this product, or the product is not to your expectations, let us know straight away, let us fix it, and so on and so on. Then you'll probably set your complaint to Printful. So for example, the item that had printing that wasn't up to the standard of my liking, I did send them images of that, saying, why did that happen? They have apologized profoundly. They said they shouldn't have, and they refunded the money for that product. So hopefully it doesn't happen often. You will choose a company, for example, with Printful, they are known for being much better quality than others. And also if you use brands that you know, for example, American Apparel, you would know that these are quite a good brand items, good clothing, and they do stay together. So if I ordered a couple of t-shirts, one was American Apparel, that lasted really nicely. I've ordered another one, I don't even remember the brand. It was slightly cheaper version because I was thinking of the prices for my clients, and that just wasn't okay. It wasn't fine, and so I decided not even go with that. There are tops that we bought that we purposefully threw in a washing machine over and over and over again to find out whether they stretch, whether they shrink, whether the neckline stretches, whether the print comes off, and they perfectly fine, cozy, and best tops ever. So it just, I suppose, is bad luck more than anything else, but just create that relationship with your customers that if anything goes wrong, they'll be well looked after, and it's one of those things.
Yeah, okay, because, I've been toying with the idea with the podcast to have a t-shirt or have a coffee mug or something that's print demand around the world. And that's really what's happening, because I'm discovering that I've got more people in Asia and in former CIS countries listening to my podcast than I do people in North America. Yeah,
you could. And look, it's just one of those things, Gary. It's like sometimes you go to a really nice shop, and I'm not going to use the brands, but I go to a slightly cheaper shops. I get my children a couple of warm t-shirts. What are they called? That those long johns are made out of those t-shirts, those kind of winter underlayers. And I'll get them from a really good, quite expensive shop, thinking that I'll be all right with that. I go home, couple of washes, they are unusable. I'm thinking, what's going on? I went to a much, much cheaper high street shop, much, much cheaper. One of those big ones with blue letters on it, by the way, if you know that one. And I use them over and over and over again. So you just don't know. It's the same thing with a product, physical product that you get in a shop, and it's the same thing that you with an online order. So hopefully, fingers crossed, when you order your sample and you decide on that one product, once you know that your customers are buying it, you'll be 95% assured that they will be satisfied. I hope that answers your question. Hello? Hello?
It's all good. He keeps giving you thumbs up.
Okay. Things just froze on my skin. On my screen. Sorry. So I'm like, anybody there? Am I alone in the space here?
You're good. You're good.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Gary, for your thumbs up. So Yes, there are pros and cons behind this thing. I mean, my biggest stress was, and I kid you not, was when my best friend ever, from when we were children, ordered a whole outfit from the shop, and I knew that she's going to get it. And because it was my best friend, I was petrified, because I knew that when she put it on, and she's quite, she's quite demanding, and we all in our ways. I was sitting on needles for 10 days, and more than that, because there was a delay because of the storms in Europe, mainland Europe, and the snow. So all the deliveries were delayed. And by the time she got it, and she put the outfit on, and she said, it's fantastic, loving the material, looking great too. She's got the body for it. I just went, oh my God, the level of stress, the anticipation, because you're physically not seeing, not touching, not feeling the product. And even if you order one sample in one color, and you have maybe another color in store, you just don't know what it looks like in real life. So, and in order to make, I suppose, to be out there, you really have to create a lot of designs. And that's another thing. So you're probably physically unable to order every single sample. You're going to have to kind of cherry pick your samples. So coming back, if everybody is happy to step through, just connecting your POD supplier with the online shop. And how you do that, you simply have to learn it. You just need to research it. There are tutorials around it. Your shop will teach you how to do that. Your shop will take you through that. There will be video tutorials, and there will be support that will take you through it. So YouTube became a very handy tool, I must say. I've spent, a couple of weeks just YouTubing things, different, making notes, connecting information. The connection itself setup is manual in a way, because you have to actually click it for it to go there, but the integration itself is automated, right? So the shop and the POD supplier will talk through algorithms, via algorithms in between themselves. Now, you can have, as I said, as many shops integrated, well, maybe not as many, probably up to 5, I would say, with one print-on-demand supplier, and vice versa. So for example, now I've got an Etsy shop. Printful is my supplier, but now I'm thinking, or actually, no, I'm not thinking, I'm integrating my Amazon seller account to my Printful. So I'm going to start pushing my orders to Amazon seller account as well. And then I stumbled upon that AOP Plus, which is based in London. I'm thinking, this is great, because for certain items, the novelty items that I would like, I'm just going to connect that as well. You just probably need to keep track on your connections and knowing what you've got set up where. But I suppose, don't go wild, don't go crazy, don't like connect 10. And a good thing about it is that you can also connect it to your WooCommerce. So if you have your own website that you're running as e-commerce website, so people can actually purchase from your website can be connected directly to the POD supplier, and you keep more of the profits. So that's my next step, by the way, later on, is to do that, because you don't have that another person, which is the Etsy and the Amazons and so on, taking some of those profits away. Each shop has to be connected automatically and individually, of course. I hope that's self-explanatory. And to re-emphasize, the whole kind of setup process is semi-automated. So what happens next? It's playtime. So some of you may recognize something on this t-shirt. I think it's really cool, even if I say so myself. You might want one, $39.99. Anyway, first thing to do before you start playing around is to get to know your POD back office. So play around with the website itself, with the setup, then play around with the designing tools, create some crazy weird designs before you do anything, because before you actually start working on a design that you want, just create a few mock designs where you just fool around. That's the next step. Drive their support crazy if necessary, and that's what I've done. Any question, I just thought, what, I'm done Googling things, I'm just going to ask them. And they come through every time you ask them. They're there to help you and to point you in the right direction. And when you're done with playing around, that's when you start creating your designs. So you're now, let's say you're sitting in Printful right now. You're in your POD heaven. You're creating your designs. Now, things that sell well, or coffee mugs, Like when you look at research, a little bit of research, not that much. Coffee mugs, shot glasses, novelty products, travel mugs, tumblers. These kind of little things are always popular. Of course, t-shirts. I mean, t-shirts every time. We all love a good t-shirt. And simple text-based designs are the best sellers. Yes, of course, you can do quite complicated stuff. And I suppose maybe that particular design on the screen right now would be relevant to only a few interested individuals. But if you were trying to sell that, I suppose maybe not everyone would purchase it. So if you know what I mean. Your designs will not appear in your shop until you push them there. So just because you've created a design in your POD, let's say your Printful, and it's sitting in your Printful, doesn't mean it's in your shop. So don't freak out. Going, oh my God, now the whole world knows my designs. Nothing will happen until you actually push them physically, submit them into the store, and then you go into your store and you publish them. So there are 2 steps from creating your product. There are another 2 steps to cover for your product to be an actual active listing in your online shop. So you have plenty of time to get things wrong and then to get things right. Moving on, what happens next? Step 5. Before you sell anything, what did we say? Order samples, right? Order samples. Get your mug, get your t-shirt, get your whatever else you have created, see what it feels like, run it through a dishwasher, run it through a couple of, I don't know, give it to your child to have tea in it, see how long it lasts, right? Do anything just to find out, is this going to crumble in my hands or is this a pretty good stuff actually? I must say, they're pretty good actually, these ones, these little mugs, very sturdy little things. I have my own and my husband has his own now with his branding on it as well. So there you go, see? We are 2 companies having teas together, working on our businesses. All right, so we're moving on. You've got your samples. And we're now getting busy. All right, we are pushing our first order to the store. Add means push. That's the language that you're going to use. Push your order to the store. You push your order. And this is the opposite to those who are doing affiliate marketing and advertising and using, I don't know, YouTube advertising, et cetera, et cetera. When you place an ad and then you have to sit on your hands and don't touch it ever. This is the absolute reverse. You post it, you publish it, and then you get busy. You take the screenshots of that, you post it all over the place, so you're creating an awareness of the product, you put it on your social media, and so on and so on and so on and so on. You may consider some paid advertising in the future. I think if you're running it with Amazon, Amazon has a process of advertising, paid advertising within to boost up your listings to page 1. So you may want to do that. But of course, to start with, you know, to dip the toes in, so-called, just go with organic marketing via social media platforms. Forward it to your family and friends. Always a good thing. They can forward it further. You never know what happens. It could be that one person that purchases it and then passes the word. So that's how we start. Flood your store with incredible imagination designs with congruency in mind. That means if you have designed a shop with doormats, funnydoormats.com, just ensure that you're selling doormats, right? Because then it just starts getting confusing. So like with anything else, just stick to either a brand or an idea. So if you're running a mug shop, you know, super dedicated mugshop.com, I don't know, just make sure that it's just mugs or mugs and kitchenware. So something ties in to that mug design. You know, if we're doing a doormat, it could be a door knocker. I don't know, personalized door knocker. I don't know, something that ties in. So we need to think of congruency here. And if possible, you may not be able to wear a doormat, but if possible, wear and be your brand. So wherever you are, if you're doing webinars, et cetera, that is about your brand and you're spreading your brand, ideally is to wear it, to be it on a daily basis. Are we good? Can we move on? Excellent. We are now coming to the design process. Now, you may recognize a couple of things here. First question is, what could you create? So I have created, with the permission of Gary's Glorious Golden Nuggets, I have created him a laptop bag because Gary is quite curious about his whole laptop lifestyle. So I thought when he's living his laptop lifestyle, of course, he has to take his laptop with him somewhere. So I have created a laptop bag for him. All right. Well, it's not a real product until Gary orders it for himself. Then we have a beautiful mug. And this design is by our beloved Beth Forst, which is our artist, our painter. This is her favorite boat and painting. Yet again, this design has been used with permission of Beth. So I'm quite comfortable doing that. And that is showing, hopefully, everyone how you can use your design or your creations on your own products. So this was a painting that Beth has posted on Facebook, and I have just, kind of taken it with her permission and put it on her mug. But now Beth could go, ooh, I like that. That could be my next product. So if you buy a painting, right, as a free gift, somebody can get a mug. So it kind of boosts up your sale, hopefully. It's a little gift, just looking after your client. And I've made the flip-flops especially for Carl, because I thought, he really likes his motorbike. And if he could take his motorbike on holiday, and the holiday season is coming up, then he can put his motorbike on his flip-flops. So wherever he goes, his motorbike is with him, right? So now you can see how this is working. Now you can see what you can do with that. And this, these images, so for example, the motorbike picture, that's the image from the stock images within one of the stock images platform, right? The painting by Beth, that's her own painting. So she can actually use that without, paying anybody, without any permission. It's her stuff. Of course, she'll probably do her little Beth Force on it. Gary as well, his brand is his brand, so he can do that freely. So the good thing is, now how have I created those samples, those images? Printful provides its own mockup images. So the moment you create a design, you then can download the mockups to push them into the store, which is really good. Not all shops or online, not shops, POD suppliers have that, but you can then use a different mockup generator. So there's a company called PLACEIT, and you can use that. They are free up to a point, and then obviously if you want to go a little bit higher, you need to start paying for that. So PLACEIT is a good place to go for creating mockups generators. They also create little videos as well. So if you need to create a video of your product, you could do that. Okay, we are moving on, coming close to an end. So I'm thinking, you might think, hey, my idea is pants. I don't have any ideas, Somebody out there is going to love your idea, whatever that idea is. If you want to put, I'm just going to do a little bit of advertising. I'll cover, if you want to put this thing on your, chips or whatever, on your top, and you think, well, I have nothing better, like there's nothing in my head, somebody's going to love that design and go, oh my gosh, I always wanted to have pants with chips on it. I don't know, right? So trust the fact that there's someone out there that will like your design. Never mind how crazy it is. Never mind how weird it is. Never mind how simple it is. Somebody out there is going to like it. I mean, the most basic design ever, best invention ever since sliced bread is a white t-shirt. Everyone got one, right? A white t-shirt. I mean, didn't take much to think of that. However, I just want to assure you that your ideas are not pants. And I'm sure you can find something in that head of yours to put on a t-shirt, mug, or flip-flops in order to create your first product for yourself, for your family and friends, or to actually push into a store and start creating income. And on that note,